All right, welcome to Spoiler Kings. My name is St. Kramer, and I got some special guests with me today: Jason Entertainment and Ken from Ken Sparks channel, formerly C for or what was it C for Yourself?
Yeah, see for yourself.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I know you changed it now. I was like, all right. So yeah, they're here. We're gonna talk about some Halloween movies to get ready for the month of October, and we are gonna talk about Coraline in a little bit. And before we do, I'm gonna let these guys give a shout out to their channels and where you can follow them at. So, Jason, where can people find you at?
Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, everyone? So my name is Jason Entertainment. Thank you so much, Spoiler Kings, for having me tonight. Thank you also. It's such a pleasure to be with Ken as well. So where can you find me? You can find me at Jason Entertainment on YouTube. Also, I'm on Instagram now, so you can find me. I don't remember exactly what is my Instagram. I don't use it that much, but probably it's Jason Entertainment 5 or 1, I think, something like that. And yeah, so yeah, right now, like I'm just trying to put I'm gonna put probably a review for Exorcist Believer. And yeah, so I do movie reviews, sometimes I cover some football, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah,
nice. And then just so you know, it is Jason _ Entertainment 1 or Jason Y. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. What about you, Ken? Where can people find you at?
Well, I just renamed my channel, as Tank mentioned, to Kenny Sparks. It used to be called See for Yourself, but I decided to change the name because I wanted to be more searchable, more recognizable, and not have to make people spell "yeah" every time they try to search for me. So my channel, you can find me at if you use the @ sign is Ken Sparks dot or period, and that's because someone has Kenny Sparks, or I'm sorry, it's Kenny Sparks dot or period, and that's because someone has Kenny Sparks. And I looked at their channel as just a preacher who hasn't uploaded in like 13 years, so I'm kind of upset that I can't even reach out to him. Yeah, but on Instagram, you can find me at Kenny Sparks 90 for similar reasons. Someone already had Kenny Sparks, and Instagram. And TikTok, same thing. So those are the platforms I upload to most frequently. And similar to what Jason mentioned, I also I will have a Exorcist Believer review out as soon as or soon after the movie comes out, and I actually just did an Exorcist review for my Unseen Movie Marathon, where I review a movie from each year between 1970 to present, or present will be 2024 by the time we're done with that. So thanks so much, guys. Hope you check out my channel, and I can't wait to get started.
Cool. And then I'll put all your info, guys, in the description. So if anybody wants to check these guys out, I highly recommend you do. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here and talking with me.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, man. So we are going to talk about Coraline.
Yes.
More stop motion. I want to say animated movie from what year was that? 2009. It's considered quote unquote family friendly horror. Which is part of our category that we're gonna put it in. But yeah, like Ken kind of inferred is like maybe not, but also I would argue that a lot of horror is probably not for kids.
Right.
But just right off the bat, Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 90%, on Google 92%, IMDb 7.7 out of 10. But it is a stop motion. Dakota Fanning, Terry Hatcher, Ian McShane. So we got some pretty decent. Keith David, of course.
Keith David,
classic. So we had a lot of great actors that lend their voice to this movie. It is based off a book and all that good stuff. But we are talking about the movie. So right off the bat, we're gonna kind of get into how we liked it and what it kind of means for us, if it means anything for us. Because this is considered a classic kind of movie, or if not a cult following. So Jason, what you think about Coraline and how do you kind of feel about it?
Well, I'm gonna go directly. What does it mean for me? I wouldn't say it means like a lot, because like I watched this movie kind of late. I watched it in 2019. That's the first time I finally watched it. But so that's why like I can't say like, oh, this means so much for me. It's my classic. No, like I watched it and I was glad, of course, that I watched it. But yeah, so I don't have that. But now, like, what do I think about the movie? Like, honestly, so when I was a kid, I used to see Coraline every time in the Blockbuster, and I wanted to rent it. But like people used to tell me it's very scary, but it's so good. and just for some reason I could never rent it. Like I don't know, like I just couldn't. I don't know, like it's nobody. I didn't have like my parents didn't tell me don't watch that movie. Nothing. It's just I couldn't. I don't know, like just I never got the chance. And then when I finally saw it, as a grown up man, honestly, I was a bit scared. And I'm like, yo, I can't believe kids watch this movie. I'm like, oh my god, this is scary. Like so, like me, like 2019 Jason, I was a bit scared. I'm like, I can't imagine how it was going to be when I was like what, like 8 years old. So I'm like, yeah, this is very, but it was very a pleasant surprise. Honestly, it was a very pleasant surprise for me, and I hope I can rewatch it because I just watched it once, but what I remember was fantastic for me. Like honestly, this is a great movie, great Halloween movie, man.
Yeah. Real quick, I did say it was a book. I forgot to mention it's a Neil Gaiman book. So if that name sounds familiar, you know, you're kind of like, oh, okay. It is a Neil Gaiman book that a novel that he created in the 90s or something like that, early 90s. So you know, if that name sounds familiar, and you kind of know who he is, he does maybe stuff not meant for kids, but
definitely,
definitely. So, okay. But what about you, Ken? Any thoughts and feelings for this one?
Yeah, so for sure, I'll actually go in a reverse order, like Jason. So the movie, I wouldn't say it means a ton to me. However, I do really enjoy it. When I first got reintroduced to the movie's existence, because I had seen it, just like you mentioned, Jason, from like 2009. I was aware of its existence, and I just never got around to it. I actually watched it for the first time today. And the reason why I actually had it on the list and actually signed up for it when Tank asked me to come on was because it was a part of a list of movies that I was going to do for like a top 10 multiverse movies. And I was trying to fill out like 10 because it was actually hard to find 10. And so when I Googled, one of the results that came up was Coraline. I was like, oh, really? It's a multiverse movie? So I've actually been wanting to watch this movie for a few months now. So this gave me an opportunity to watch it. So when I finally did watch it, I was pretty pleased with what I saw. It's really creepy. It's not, I know it's in the kids section. However, I don't know if this would be the first thing I would show my kids. This movie has a lot of it's not even just like the scary parts. Yeah, it's like, so I don't know how kid friendly you want to be, or actually how spoilerific you want to be during this conversation. Where
you can get into spoilers. It's an old movie, and I don't think many kids are watching us anyway. Really shouldn't be watching us.
No, not at all. It's similar to like Nightmare on Elm Street, another Tim Burton movie, where you're kind of like questioning, should I let my kids watch this? But I love Nightmare on Elm Street. But this movie in particular, you know, they're trying to replace people's eyes with buttons, and there's a whole lot of like other creepy imagery that's awesome and fun and great. I just don't know if I'm showing it to kids. And then there's one particular scene where there's like the aunties are dancing, and one of them just has tassels on her, like anime sized breasts. And I'm like, are kids watching this? Is this what the kids are watching? So I was like, I don't know. But yeah, and then also, you know, I love Tim Burton because I love the fact that his brain works the way that it does. Like everything from, you know, this movie Coraline to Sweeney Todd to Batman. Like he does a great job with like gothic imagery, and he dialed it up to 11 in. So I definitely see why it got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's a movie worth watching and watching over and over and over again. So even though I'm just being introduced to it now, I could definitely see like watching it down the line, like on like a future Halloween. So that this movie is good. It's very well done. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Real quick, I don't think this is a Tim Burton movie though. It feels like a Tim Burton movie. Like I don't think it is. I think it might be produced by. I was kind of looking up, but Henry Selick directed it. Yeah, but
I'm way off. Okay,
it 100% feels like a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, like, I for sure thought it was Tim Burton, like 100% sure.
Yeah, I just assumed that it was.
Because this reminds me so much of like the Bride's, what's it called, like
Corpse Bride.
Yeah, Corpse Bride. The other one for Disney, Jack Skellington.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I mean, Yeah. So, but I'm pretty sure I had to look it up really quick. But yeah, Tim Burton did not direct it, but it does feel like a Tim Burton movie because like the vibes and everything is so much like his. The art style is very much like his some other movies that he's done with the same exact art style,
and the way the characters interact too. They all feel like Tim Burton characters.
Yeah. That's something I need to look into to see how much inspiration that the director took from, like, Tim Burton. Obviously, Tim Burton is a great director. Has very specific storytelling skills that this movie, definitely takes from. But still doesn't change the fact that it does feel like a Tim Burton movie, and I know for a fact many people think that this is a Tim Burton movie because I thought it was a Tim Burton movie forever.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not, because I remember Brandon kind of, I think we were talking off stream, and he had told me it wasn't. Like, what? And I had the same reaction as you guys. But I forgot who the director was, so I double checked it really quick.
And like you mentioned, the voice acting in this is phenomenal. I mean, everybody does a great job at this. So Dakota Fanning and the GOAT Keith David, who's been around forever. They really did a good job in this.
Yeah, he's the cat. But Terry Hatcher as the moms, was great. But real quick, for me, I always enjoyed this movie, and then my girlfriend, this is like one of her favorite movies, and I kind of understand why like a kid could attach themselves to this movie, because they can see themselves like either feel like they're being neglected by their parents, or they're not being seen, because parents are busy, work, their own things, other kids and stuff like that. So I can see why a lot of kids could really attach themselves to this kind of story. And then you go to the other world and you're like the only thing that this other, these fake parents of yours think about, and they're there to please you, so you're like, oh, this is great, but then obviously, the good things have consequences or agendas and stuff like that, like this did. But I can definitely see why kids definitely attach themselves to it. But this is a really like dark and stuff like that. But there's things I've noticed as an adult that I didn't notice as a kid, that I believe the little boy in the movie, he kind of sets her up. I forgot the exact detail.
With the doll?
What was it? I forgot what his name is.
He gave her the doll, right?
Gave her the doll. Yeah, he gave her the doll, and he kind of set it all in motion, and and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, man, like he did this to them, and there's like a whole conspiracy theory on why he did it, and people, this and that and stuff like that. So that's how when a movie is a classic or a cult classic, when people start making theories about why certain characters did things and why certain things looked the way they did or said the way they were said. So yeah,
it was interesting to me that the doll never showed up again after like the initial like setup of like hiding under the bed and then getting her to the door. The doll, I don't think ever shows up again in the film, which was really interesting because I thought it was going to play a role down. Like that's not a negative. It was just like, oh, it didn't come back. That's interesting.
The doll was just a doll. I think it could have been like other movies where like it was a replacement kind of thing. Stuff like that. So, but yeah, man. I mean, this is definitely for me. It's a must watch for the Halloween season. It's just one of those movies that kind of goes into the carousel of all the other Halloween movies. It's technically, like I said earlier, it is technically considered a family movie, but there's parts like Ken said, there's some sexual parts, there's some dark and scary kind of parts, and stuff that might go over kids' heads for actually understanding stuff. But as an adult, I appreciate it. My girlfriend loves it. She's dressed as Coraline a couple times for Halloween.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Like yeah. So it's definitely like a great movie. I think she just got the book too. Again, I would say again, it's not her first copy. I don't even think it's her second copy. Somebody was giving it away, and she's like, "I got to take this. I have to save it," as she says.
So you mentioned like watching it as an adult. Like obviously, I watched it a couple hours ago. So watching it as an adult for me, like as a not yet parent, it kind of just reminded me. Oh, I kind of want to make sure that despite my business as an adult, that I'm still being attentive to my child. I'm not a parent yet, but it's something that like I want to be a parent soon. So it's something I'm keeping like in the back of my mind. Like, I need to, despite all the YouTube stuff, whatever I'm doing for work, this little human needs that attention. So that's definitely something that I took away from it for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think this movie like really like there's plenty of animation movie that like it's good for kids because they have like this like kid friendly, let's say, like that character that you can relate, but many of the movies were kind of meant for an older audience, let's say, like that. So when you watch this, you're just like, wow, like this resonates so much. Like if I was a kid, maybe I wouldn't understand what the movie was trying to say that much, that now I understand, like, whoa, this is completely insane. Like it's it's relatable also. Like you can like Ken said, like like it makes you reflect on yourself, like, oh yeah, like if I have a kid, like I really should have to spend time with him too, like don't do that. So it was really like an interesting approach, like that's why like I understand why people like they think this is a classic, and I understand why. Like, seriously, like it has all the elements to be a classic. And that's,
and for a movie to be rated like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, that means a lot of adults saw it and a lot of adults went online and said this resonated with me. I mean, it can't just because the kids aren't voting on Rotten Tomatoes or what have you. It's us that are doing that. So obviously, it was something that about this movie that really caught people in a way that made them really enjoy it, and I can see why that happened. And I'm one of those people who would have, if I had seen it at the time in 2009, I probably I was 19, so my brain was a little different then. So, but a 33-year-old Ken would have rated this movie very high because it deserves it.
Yeah. Is that where? So I kind of said where it fits in my Halloween kind of viewing, kind of for the month. Where would you guys put it at? Yeah, are you gonna watch it again? Because I know Ken, you said this is your first time watching it. Are you gonna watch it again? Or or are you gonna just kind of like, I'm good.
I could see myself watching it again. I don't know if I would prompt myself to do that, like just on my own. If someone came over to, hey, we want to watch an animated movie, like Halloween movie, I would probably watch this over Nightmare on Elm Street. Not Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sorry, Nightmare Before Christmas, because I watched Nightmare Before Christmas recently. It's not as good as I remember it being. So, but this is actually really good, and I would recommend watching it for sure.
Yeah, you're lucky Brian's not here. He might like reach through the screen. And I mean, I'm there with him. I usually go to the movies, the actual theater because they always re-release Night Before Christmas and go see it. Same thing with Coraline. Like right now, I Googled it to get info, and they're like, it's playing at a theater near me. So
really, wow, that's so nice.
Yeah. Usually a lot of these classic Halloween ones tend to do that, so that's how it's made it. It comes out every year in the theaters for a limited time.
Correct.
But okay, Ken. What about you, Jason? Where you putting this in your Halloween?
Well, definitely I'm gonna rewatch this movie. And actually, I was kind of like, like even before. So that's why it was crazy, because when you asked me like, hey, do you want to do? Have you watched Coraline? Would you like to talk about it? And I was like, oh my god, like. I think it was like 3 days ago where I was like, you know what, for this Halloween, I'm probably gonna rewatch Coraline, because like I wanted to remember that movie. It was in 2019, so I think it's time to go rewatch it again. And that's why like just everything like this, the collab and everything. I'm like, wow, everything happened. So definitely I'm gonna rewatch it, like for sure. It wasn't my plans to rewatch it this, not necessarily Halloween, like maybe the second week of October or something like that when I have free time. So, but yeah, I wanted to definitely rewatch Coraline, like on my free time, and see like how do I think the same? Is there things that I forgot and now I'm more like I remember, or I'm more aware of certain things, or maybe I can start a conspiracy theory. I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, it's on my list to watch it again. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. But if you guys got anything else, I think we're about done with that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last thoughts or ideas about Coraline?
I think,
No,
well, for me, just I think it was really, it was really nice, seriously. And also, I just wanted to point out something. Like, you remember when Ken was saying, like, oh yeah, this is not really for children. Now that I remember, like, yeah, like the concept that they took, it's so messed up. Like for children, like they're telling you a story that could really happen to many children, and they turn it like, into a horror, like a fantasy. I'm like, whoa, that's like at the end, when I even thought she wasn't going to get out, because like it was so like
it was questionable.
Yeah, it was questionable. But I get stuck here, seriously. Like, so imagine a kid watching that. So definitely, definitely this is. I don't recommend this for kids, man.
Yeah.
When you put it in like layman's terms, like this creature from another dimension stole these children's eyes, and they've died, and now that she's trying to get her next victim and steal her eyes so she can keep her trapped in this world forever. Kids movie. It's like,
I'm not sure about
that. When you put it that way. Yeah, that's. I'm sure there's other ways that the studios made it more
right. Someone pitched that very differently.
Very differently from the end result. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh, who wrote this? Neil Gaiman. He was like, who? Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's something I kind of want to look into more, is like how what was going through Neil Gaiman's head when he was writing this, like because it does have some aspects of like kind of like reality, like kids getting kidnapped and like, oh hey, I got free candy, cool, now it's not fun, so you get a lot of stuff like that. But here it's just like it's kind of obviously playing with it with another dimension and fake parents and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely borderline, kid movie for me, and like you guys, it's probably not a kid movie. I had
no room to talk because I saw RoboCop when I was like 8. So
same, and I love that movie. I still love that movie. But cool, man. Appreciate you guys again. Go check out Jason Entertainment on his YouTube channel. Link is in the description. Kenny Sparks. Make sure you check him out. Also, link in the description. Make sure you check those guys out. A bunch of cool reviews, and they're always hanging out and doing lives and on other people's channels. So make sure you check them out. You will not regret it. But we appreciate you guys checking us out and us hearing us talk about this movie. But we want to hear from you. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about Coraline. Is it something that you watch every Halloween? Is it not? Does it have any kind of personal meaning to you? Do you feel like a kid should be watching this movie? Leave a comment. Let us know. But we appreciate everyone coming in. Appreciate Jason, Ken. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me, talking about this.
Wouldn't miss it.
Yeah, but that is it for us right now. But we will see you guys in the next video. Later.